Hello, hello, you all. Welcome to another episode of the Master Relationship Mechanics Show. I am Courtney Lee Smith, your host, and I am so excited today to continue this conversation about love this month in February. I am your host here, and I talk about what it could have been, should have been, to what it will be. That is how I help you navigate. I'm excited about the women, my co-authors in this wonderful book called Self-Love, Confidence, and Happiness. How we get that, how we need to find these strategies to love each other. And of course, today is self-love, National Self-Love Day. And so it's not but a better day to have this discussion Valentine's Day, that hallmark day that was created. So we need to talk about this love thing that we're always talking about. So I have four awesome women who have joined me, and that is not as many people in the collaboration, but four people who have taken their time to join me today to talk about their chapter, what they do, and what self-love is to them. So you all tune in, and I got this wonderful, this link that I had found, because usually I talk about one scripture, how I put up this foundation, but you all, it was so many scriptures that talk about this generosity of love and how we express it to other people and how we express it to God. But when I was reading through these scriptures, it made me think, do we share the same type of generosity to ourselves? Do we share it to ourselves? So women, men on the line, I want you to read through these scriptures and say, do you give yourself this type of love? Good morning, Miss Sheri. Thank you for joining me. I am sharing that link on the chat with you all, so you all can click on it at any time and get those scriptures. So we are starting off today with Dr. Denise Dyer. So I'm going to pop her up on the screen. And hello, wonderful woman. Look at that smile, y'all. Y'all know that's love, all in that smile, just radiating for you all this morning. So I'm going to start out you all off with some really basic questions. And these questions are going to be for each of our guests here today. And it's going to be, what's the title of your chapter? Why self-love? How does this relate to your business, your ministry? What is it that you have for us? How to connect to you, how to be a part of you, how to get some of your abundance of self-love to overflow on us.
Wow. Well, first, let me start out by saying Grand Rising, good morning, and thank you so much for having me as a guest. And I am so excited to be part of this wonderful project about self-love. So the name of my chapter is Tales of a Butterfly, My Journey of Self-Love. And the reason why I chose that title, or I should say, the reason I believe that title came to me, is because I had to go through my own transformation, very similar to that of a butterfly. And I'm very open and honest in my chapter about how the issue or my relationship with my hair has played a huge role in my journey of self-love. So that's how the title came about, Tales of a Butterfly, going through my own transformation. And now, as you mentioned in your questions, now I get to support women in doing the very same thing, going through their change, their owning their power. And I believe in our ability to transform our lives and be our best selves through the power of self-love. So that's how that came about. Tales of a Butterfly. You could repeat the next question if you like.
Okay, so on this Tales of a Butterfly journey, how does it incorporate what you do? And I know you're a minister, I know you work in the marketplace. How have you experienced this butterfly experience, and how do you help other people fly, get their wings?
I love the way that you worded that question. So the butterfly experience, the way that it plays into both my ministry and my business is that now, especially through our transformation program for incarcerated women, I really get to support women in owning their power and owning their beauty and standing tall in it and not dimming their light for anyone, being the person that they were sent here or created to be. And so recently I heard Robin Sharma, who is a coach to millionaires and billionaires, and he speaks so eloquently about the importance of self-care. And he believes that self-care is the gateway to self-love. I personally believe that they play a role in each other. When you love yourself more, you want to care for yourself. And when you care for yourself, you want to love yourself more. And that term gateway really stood out for me because I believe self-love is the gateway to freedom. When you really love yourself, you want the best for yourself and you're not willing to play small anymore. So I get to support people now that I've gone through my journey, and it continues. It's a lifelong journey. And so now that I've gone through my process, I get to support others and really owning who they really are, loving themselves, taking exquisite care of themselves, and then getting to the point where they're saying, okay, I am worthy of the best. What is it that I really desire to create for my life? What is it that I desire? What's the legacy that I want to leave behind and leave for my family? And so that's how my journey of self-love now plays out both in my business and in my ministry as well. So we're transforming lives one vision at a time through the power of self-love. And it's an honor. It really is. It's an honor and it's very exciting. And so one thing, if someone asks, well, what can I do? Where do I even start? When I was having issues with my hair, I could not even look in the mirror and say, I love my hair. So one thing I learned was you cannot look in the mirror and lie to yourself. It just whatever soul, spirit just won't let you do it. And so I would say just start with a simple exercise of looking in the mirror and just saying, I love you. Just saying, I love you. And although we speak a lot about self-love, make sure you like yourself as well, because some people just assume that, well, you love yourself, you like yourself. In relationships, if you say you love somebody, there are relationships where you might love that person and not necessarily like them as a person. So make sure you love yourself and you like the person that you are. You like yourself as a person and you accept all aspects of yourself. So just start with something simple. I believe back to basics. So just start with looking in the mirror and just saying, I love you. And then come up with some other things that you might want to affirm by yourself. Affirm about yourself. And I'll share this as well. The journey of self-love, what I truly believe is that every woman is a goddess. And I'll say that again. Every woman is a goddess. We have that divine feminine energy. We have that divine feminine power. And we are the feminine expression of God, of the Creator. So every woman is a goddess. And when you really begin to embrace that and embrace your inner goddess, and you begin to know who you really are, that's your pathway, your gateway to really loving yourself, wanting to care for yourself, and wanting the best for you and anyone surrounding you or involved with your life journey. So that's how my journey of self-love and self-care now plays a role in my business as well as my ministry. And as I said, it's an honor. I love it. It's my purpose. It's my passion. And it's a reminder that when we're going through something, we just really never know how God is preparing us. I was so miserable during that phase of my life, and now I see how it plays out for such a time as this. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, and I definitely would love for you to purchase the book, you can reach out to me at DeniseDyerCoaching@gmail.com. That's DeniseDyerCoaching@gmail.com. And feel free to join me every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern, where we talk about the journey of self-love and self-care. And we're going back to basics. It's really simple, the simple things that we're forgetting about because we're so busy watching the news and watching TV and being distracted. And we talk about that as well, how distractions really keep us from knowing and expressing who we truly are. So feel free to join me at Denise Dyer Clubhouse every Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. And again, if you want to reach out to me, send an email, DeniseDyerCoaching@gmail.com. And definitely check out my website, DeniseDyer.com. So again, thank you so much, Courtney. Remember, Tales of a Butterfly. Transform, spread your wings, and be the person you were sent here to be.
Love it, love it. Spread your wings, people. A lot of times we are allowing a lot of things to clip our wings, and we're not showing love to ourselves. And with our broken wings, as much as we think we loving somebody else, we really aren't being the best version of our love. Thank you, Dr. Denise, for coming here and blessing us to transform, to get our wings and being the best version of ourselves. And I love the fact that you told people they need to like themselves as well. There are a lot of things that we love about ourselves, but then there are things that we really look at ourselves, our characteristics and things that we just don't like about us. It is never too late to cut them out, to get rid of them, so we can become always the best version of ourselves. So thank you for blessing us. And that is Denise Dyer coaching. So you all make sure you all connect with her, and definitely go to her website, definitely be a part of this transformation, break out of you all's cocoons. So I am going to jump to our next guest, loves. Yes, we have plenty of guests. I have Sheri Leopold coming up, you all, and she is going to bless us as well. Wonderful woman. Look at that smile. Y'all see now, when women smile, you all can see a real, sincere smile in these women who are coming about. Y'all know I love the smile, but I love the sincerity when you can see the happiness and the joy and the love of another person when they come on. That glow is in a real smile. We spend so much time faking smiles for people, faking past our hurt, faking past our pain. But Sheri Leopold is here to tell us about another aspect of self-love, happiness, and confidence. We need all of those things to be the best version of ourselves. So, Sheri, I'm going to ask you these same questions. Tell me about your chapter. Tell me how that chapter works with you, how it speaks about you, your ministry, your marketplace, and definitely how we can be a part of what it is that you are doing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here today with you. And, you know, when this came up and I saw the title, I was like, I have to do this. So what I refer to myself as the leader of the Stop Self-Bullying movement. So I'd like to first say, what is self-bullying? That dropped in my spirit. I say it was a gift from God. It was a message directly from him. I was riding in the car and I heard on the radio that Anthony Bourdain had committed suicide. It was only 3 days after Kate Spade. This was immediately on the heels of the day before watching a friend of mine just sit on my floor in tears saying, you know, like that her life was not great. And, you know, she was so frustrated. And I knew that she didn't make a lot of money. She had sort of an unstable family at the time and unstable relationships. And I thought, all I could think of was, oh my gosh, they exited at the top, right? They had more money than they could ever spend. They had dream careers. They had families who loved them. And I thought, what's going to stop me from getting that phone call about her? And I was like, I was in the car at the radio. I turned it off and I was complete silence. And I said, God, this has to stop. And I thought, what can I do? I would say he answered because he must have been sitting in the passenger seat, because all of a sudden I was like, I felt this incredible urgency that I had to do something. I didn't know what to do though. And I thought, what am I going to do? I'm like, I share a nutritional supplement, you know, I'm like, for my job, I'm like, I don't know what to do to help the situation. And I started thinking about, what is the common denominator? Now, mind you, I'm driving down the highway talking with my hands out loud. I'm sure somebody probably thought I was on the phone, but I was just talking to God, I guess. And when I asked what the common denominator was, I literally heard that it was that this would never be okay if this was happening, that somebody was doing these kinds of things to somebody else. It would be called bullying. And I heard self-bullying. And I was like, self-bullying. I'm like, this is so true. This is what this is. It's like something we would never consider doing to someone else because it would be hurtful, hateful, and mean. But we do it to ourselves all the time. And so you know, you get in this headspace where it's just, I call it inner voice, Ivy. Ivy as ivy that grows unchecked, goes rampant and takes over everything, right? That's what the negative thoughts are, and that self-cursing, if you will, and the self-bullying. Dr. Amen calls them ants, automatic negative thoughts, and killing the ants, but you can call it whatever you want. But for me, it was like self-bullying. That's what I heard that day. And I was like, I have to do something. And that's why I thought, oh, I didn't know what to do, but I had just written a first chapter in a collaborative book called From Grief to Grind. So I thought, I'll write a book. And I was like, I had no idea what the book was going to be, how it was going to play out or anything. I went to a network marketing meeting and I told a friend of mine I was writing a book. And she said, wow, that's amazing. She said, what's it called? And I said, Self-Bullying, What to Do When the Bully Is You. And she went, wow. Again, I kept hearing the word wow. And it was very funny because she's like, I can't wait to read it. And I was like, I can't wait to write it. I didn't have a word. I literally had a title and a thought about it. But I thought this was how I could make a difference, was I could help people stand in the power of me and help them stand up and stand out and understand that there's nobody here that's like them. Like, you'll hear lots of women here today talking about their chapters, like with the self-love, the happiness and confidence, and you'll hear this, but none of us are going to say the same types of things. It'll sound like it's in the same highway lanes, but it all comes out differently because we each have our own unique gift. And that's literally what I did with this book, was I created sort of a format for you to understand, which is the title of my book, or the title of my chapter. You are an unrepeatable miracle, exactly as you are, no qualifiers. You don't have to lose 10 pounds, right, ladies? You don't have to learn some skill. You don't have to get the perfect job or find the perfect mate. You are an unrepeatable miracle exactly as you are. You are about one, your DNA is about 1 in 400 trillion. There is nobody like you. Nobody can say your message like you. Some people can have similar things, as we'll see, but you have the gift of you. And so when it comes to self-love, you have to understand that fundamental part first. You show up as you, and there's nobody else like you. So right out of the gate, you're already, if you want to say, if you're running a race, you're in first place because nobody's like you. You have to accept that power, though, to be in first place. And you have to know what your gifts are. One of the things that I love to do, and I teach this, as I mentioned, the Wow Warriors. I mentioned wow, I should say. That was the word I heard the first probably 10 to 12 times I told somebody I was writing this book, Self-Bullying, What to Do When the Bully Is You. I knew I wanted to use the word wow and something. And one of my mentors, I said to her, we were walking after a conference after I just spoke on this topic. And I said to her, I want to use the word wow, but I'm not really sure. And she said, oh, easy. Because I thought one of the W's would be warrior, because that is that innate, fight that we have. And it's a constant battle. It never goes away. Some days are good and some days are not as good. But I knew that I wanted to use that word. And she said, oh, it's the war on words. And I'm like, yes. So we are wow warriors because we are in this fight together. You and I, in a sisterhood of people who say, yes, we deserve to be loved. We deserve to love ourselves. We deserve to be the best version of ourselves. And we need that tribe around us who helps us when we forget that we are this amazing, unique, unrepeatable miracle. And they will snap you. That's my technique that I teach, that snaps you back to reality and reminds you that you are that unrepeatable miracle and that you are a wow warrior, because you are a war on words warrior. And I invite you to join my group, Wow Warriors, on Facebook. It is an open group. I simply ask that you come there with the desire to increase your self-love, which when you increase that self-love, your happiness goes up. When your happiness goes up, you are confident. That's my trajectory of those three things. They are all related, but they always start with the self-love. And I always say, nobody can outlove you. And what I mean by that is when you show up in relationships, whether family, personal relationships, work relationships, and you don't love who you are, other people can't love you past that level. So you're limiting your ability for the happiness and the confidence. So we have to get a handle on the self-love first and say, yes, I am an unrepeatable miracle. And that's one of the most important things. And I think a great exercise for everybody to do is to do two things. You sit down and you write a list of 10 things that make you uniquely you, unbelievably you, like strong words, like I'm confident, I determined, whatever the words are that, I'm a great listener, things that uniquely identify you, loyal, you'll come up with your own words, but you get those 10 words to paper. And then you do a little exercise where you go ask at least 5 people to write those 10 words that they think you are. No coaching with them, except to give them what kind of words you're looking for. And then what you do is you don't use it to compare yourself, because comparison is the thief of joy, but you use it to see if the way you're thinking about yourself is how others are seeing you and how you're showing up in the world, because it'll tell you whether you do have a big self-bullying problem. Because self-bullying all sounds very much like, oh, I'm so fat, yeah, I'm trying to lose my baby fat, but my baby's 32. And we sort of couch that in humor. And so we want to make sure that we are always understanding what our gifts are and those things that make us that unrepeatable miracle, right? And knowing them, being able to say them confidently. Like I can say I'm the leader of the Stop Self-Bullying movement. I'm a speaker, an author, and a 2-time best-selling author. And I've authored like 6 or 7 other books. And I'm getting ready to host my own television show. I say that to you in all confidence, not because I'm bragging, but because it's true. And when it's true, you're not bragging. And that transformational piece right there is one of the things that I love to teach my WOW warriors. It's what I teach the people that I mentor. It's what I teach my team in network marketing, because I always need for people to understand they will always be that unrepeatable miracle exactly as they are. No qualifiers. You are awesome. And that's where, when you grab hold of that self-love and you know who you are and you love those characteristics that make you uniquely you, that is when the happiness will blossom. And that is where you will stand up confident, and you will never think for a second that you're bragging about yourself. You were just being the unrepeatable miracle that you are.
Thank you, Sheri. Thank you. I love that title, The Unrepeatable You. Because when I think about you, I always think about a magnet. That
Yep.
I know that's old school magnets. Most of us talking about little circles, but in my mind, I can always envision when people talk about you. And a lot of times we try to be everything else but our unique you selves. But when we get in our unique you selves, we're really attracting that everything that God has allowed us to do. So you all make sure you all stop self-bullying, like Sheri said. That is a great version, because it's a place where we depress ourselves. It's a place where we actually bury ourselves under all of these conversations that we have with ourselves. Our voice is the most powerful voice that we listen to.
Absolutely.
We
I would
spend
say
so
it's a
much
lot of
time trying to find the right motivational speaker, trying to find the right person to pour into us. But at the end of the day, it is our voices and ourselves. And when you said the 32, the baby fat, our listeners just sent a laugh in because they were, I don't know if they could relate or it was just funny. But I do understand you talking about baby fat and your child is grown, or
Yes.
you got a grandchild at this point and you is way beyond you losing the fat. And you just have to accept a reality. If you love yourself as you are, but you are going to love yourself to a better place, to a healthier place. And that's the reality. So I thank you, Sheri. I thank you for definitely stepping up when you heard the call, because a lot of us miss these co-author, these collaborations. I love these because you get to connect with some wonderful people. Yeah, telling yourself the truth. That's self-love. Yes, indeed, Sheri. Telling yourself the truth. A lot of times, like Dr. Denise said, we can't stand in the mirror and actually tell ourselves the truth. If you can't stand in that mirror and actually be honest and truthful with yourself, that means you need to make some changes so you can begin to like and love yourself. So, Sheri, don't disappear on us, because I do want to bring us all back at the end.
Sure.
So we can chat it up a little bit for just in case somebody gives us a few little questions. But I love the engagement. I love the energy that is going on. So let us move to another co-author here. Thank you. Miss Kiawan, it is your turn. So I'm going to jump in just when somebody's trying to have a conversation with you. And that's how it always is. It's always when it's your turn, somebody else wants to come in and be the star of your show. But Miss Kiawan, I have these same questions for you because, of course, I already got the pre-book and we can't release it tomorrow to people, but I want y'all to be excited tomorrow about this book that is coming out. She has a marvelous chapter in there. She's going to tell you the title of her chapter. She's going to tell you how it spoke to her, what it speaks about in her ministry and her marketplace, because she has a wonderful marketplace, a wonderful ministry to share with us. So every one of these women have something that they want to pour into you and bless you so that you can love yourself in a more unique way. So I'm going to step away and let you have this opportunity.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. And Courtney, thank you so much for the opportunity for getting all the women together and share our stories with your guests. My chapter, the title of the chapter in the ebook is called "A Warrior to a Warrior," and I got that title basically because I shared just a little snippet of my life, the journeys that I've been through. I've been through a domestic violence relationship, where from that I developed a low self-esteem, and from there I picked up a marijuana addiction. I started drinking heavily, so it just put me in a place where I found myself questioning myself, like, who am I? What is my identity? What is my purpose? Why am I here? So I used to always worry myself every day, wondering what tomorrow would bring, because here I am, I'm broken. I was so broken on the inside, I couldn't face looking at myself in the mirror because I didn't like the way how I looked. I tried to adjust myself to what fit society, and that wasn't who I was. So I was uncomfortable in my identity. So that's what caused me to worry so much. From my journey, I felt myself in a dark tunnel, and just pacing my life through this dark tunnel is where I developed and became a warrior. I stood on my own ground, where I embraced my own beauty. I knew I was myself. I couldn't be like anyone else. So that's why it was uncomfortable for me to try to fit in an uncomfortable society, because that wasn't for me. That wasn't who God created me to be. That wasn't the identity that God set aside for me. So I really had to just face my own truth, face my own identity. And from the things that broke me, I took it to piece it back together to heal me and make me whole. And I honestly couldn't have done it without finding God. I really had to dig down, get on the ground, cry my heart out. Like, God help me, God save me. I don't like the way how I'm living my life. And I know you did not call me to live my life in this type of example. So God, guide me, light the path for me. And like God lighting the path created me to be this warrior that I am. I released my first best-selling book called Confidence Unlocked. So that's why when this title came about self-love, happiness, and confidence, I said, oh, this is perfect. This is beautiful. I love it. So just another way for me to share my story even more. So in Confidence Unlocked, I go a little bit deeper and share a lot more of my story, my testimony, my journey. And I then formed my own business called Empower to Inspire. Empower to Inspire just me really being transparent, just being open. Because when I went through things that I went through, I felt that I was alone. I felt that nobody else was going through the things that I was going through. I imagined it was only me. But me releasing my book, I realized so many women are either going through domestic violence relationships or even overcame a domestic violence relationship, and they felt alone. They didn't want to stand up or speak out because they were afraid, they were terrified. And that was once me. So that's how Empower to Inspire came about. Not even just a domestic violence, being raised by an absentee father. So with my dad not being present in my life, I seek love in all the wrong places. So Empower to Inspire is exactly what it says, empower to inspire. We're empowering each other to inspire another, that knowing that you're not alone. Things that you go through, you're not by yourself, but you have to find the purpose of why you're going through certain things that you're going through and transform that pain into power and purpose and really knowing who exactly you are. Once you're able to do that, then you embrace your self-confidence. You have no other choice but to be confident in who you are. At first, I wasn't confident in my story. I was terrified of my story. But just getting closer to God, getting that down tight relationship with God, I'm confident in who I used to be because I don't live there anymore. So I look at it and I embrace it, because if it wasn't for my journey, I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. So that's how Empower to Inspire is about. I have my website. You can definitely check that out. It's www.empowertoinspire.org. To contact me is info@empowertoinspire.com. And yes, that's how that story and Empower to Inspire came about.
Thank you, Kiawan. And I love what you were saying, because one thing is we have to know the battles that we have to fight. A lot of times we give in and we just say, this is what we got to deal with. This is where we got to be. And that is an excuse we give ourselves, because sometimes the word is we get too tired. Sometimes the word is we just give up. Sometimes we just accept that is the thing, but we give up on expectations. Women, men of God, the thing is, every day we're supposed to wake up with new expectations that God has for us. And that's the thing. If we call ourselves people of God, and I know I got women here, but men need to learn this same skill of self-love. And a lot of times as women, we like to say, oh, men don't have these issues of self-love, because some of the times they don't get tied up in some of the same tangibles that we do. But their insides, they are still flesh. They still have feelings. So I applaud the men that jump in to listen to these conversations that we have, so that they can really understand. Just because you see a woman's face on it, you still have this same emotional battle that you need to fight. And I love what you're doing with Empower to Inspire. You're creating disciples of love. Like you said, you had to really get to find God. A lot of us don't find God. A lot of us have lip service with God, but we don't know who God is to us. We don't know who God made us to be until we go through these situations and these circumstances. And the key is getting through it, not giving up, being that warrior. So I applaud you for stepping up to being a warrior, to going out there, discipling other people in love, and seeing what you're doing as a true ministry, because I think people miss the key that ministry only happens in an edifice, an organization. But if we all step up to our ministry callings within our marketplace, and I mean, that's a challenge for everybody to step up to their ministry calling in their marketplace. So you all should all be discipling people to do something that is called of God. She is discipling people in the characteristic that God called most important, which is love. So that is something that God will reward you for, definitely, because his word says so. So hang out just a little bit longer, just in case we have some people ask us some questions.
Okay.
Oops, remove myself. All right, you all. Now, of course, we are coming up to our visionary author. And the wonderful part about this, she actually wrote a chapter in this book herself. I've had the opportunity to do many things with Glambicious I Am, with Miss Lillie and the PR, but to get to know Miss Lillie herself and to read a little bit about her message of self-love, So it is a beautiful, a wonderful opportunity to swap the camera option, because usually she's the one that's sending out interview questions, digging a little deeper. So today I get to have her hopping in and join me. Hello, Miss Lillie Mae. I am so honored to flop the screens on you today and get to ask you some questions to find out a little bit more about Lillie Mae, not just your wonderful organizations and things that you have going on, but of course I'm going to ask you the same questions, but I'm going to dig a little bit deeper because I want to know about the vision and the mission that was behind this book. Because I know you've put out a lot of collabs to get people's feelings and things, but what were you thinking about when you talked about self-love, confidence, and happiness? What was the message and the vision? And I mean, of course, this is perfect timing on the National Day of Self-Love. You know, I always applaud you. You have the best timing, the best marketing alignment going on. One day it's gonna rub off on me. But and of course, I want you to tell us about your chapter. I want you to tell how it speaks from your ministry, your marketplace, and definitely all the plethora of ways for us to connect with you and be a part of all of the things that you have going on.
Absolutely. So my name again is Lillie Mae, and I'm the creator of the Glambicious brand. And so the purpose of my brand is to help women evolve spiritually, thrive in their passion, and achieve financial freedom. So, you know, when I thought about, the month of love, which is February, and particularly February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, I thought about how we all get very excited to celebrate romantic love, right? And how eventually you'll start seeing, teddy bears and chocolates and so many amazing things in the stores that really get us excited to celebrate romantic love. But, what's more important, I think, beyond romantic love is self-love. So I thought, let me, flip that around and pivot that energy to where we start to celebrate ourselves. And so that was the inspiration behind me bringing together, I think it's maybe 25 people to share their story of self-love, their journey to achieving confidence and happiness, because to me, that is the most important journey, is our journey to self-love, happiness and confidence. And, it is a journey that's ongoing and evolving. So it is not, a destination, but it's a lifelong journey when it comes to really feeling good about who you are and who God created you to be. And so that was kind of my vision with bringing this collaborative project together. A year ago today, I was on the Netflix series Love is Blind, and that was broadcasted, internationally. So everyone around the world got to see me on a pursuit of romantic love. And so with it being the 1-year anniversary of that show and me really, being vulnerable in front of the entire world to show my pursuit of romantic love, I thought it was yet another synchronicity of the importance of self-love. Because after that show, I really started to hone in on, the priority, which should be not searching for romantic love, but searching for self-love and really, being proactive about that journey. And so my chapter in the book is very brief but impactful. It's called Be the Love of Your Life, because you always see people post a person and say, this is the love of my life. A man will post a woman, this is the love of my life. The woman will post a man, this is the love of my life. But ultimately, I am the love of my life, right? And so that is the energy that I wanted to convey through my chapter. And when you think about the love of your life romantically, it's like how we treat romantic love is how we should treat ourselves, right? So when you're thinking about romantic love, what do? We speak words of affirmation to empower them. We tell them they look good. We tell them they smell good. What else do? We prioritize taking care of them and treating them very well. What else do? We support and help them to achieve their dreams. And so that energy that we convey romantically to our romantic partners, we need to give ourselves that same energy. And so as a public relations and profit strategist for over 10 plus years, I help women achieve their dreams by providing opportunities for them to speak at my events, to provide interview opportunities with them for other platforms, and just resources to help them, make more money ultimately. My goal is to help women thrive in their purpose and achieve financial freedom. And, how you feel about yourself, how you love yourself, it is directly related to the professional success that you're going to achieve. It is related to how successful your business will be. And so if you're wondering, how is it it possible that self-love is connected to entrepreneurship? Well, how you feel about yourself will contribute to you charging what you're worth. You know, how you value yourself and your skill set and your services and your gifts that God has given you, how you feel about that and how you believe in that, whether you really believe in it or you're a little sketchy with it, that's going to be transparent in the rates that you charge, you know, for your services or how much you price your book at. You know, I've seen some people price a book at $1. I've seen other people price a book at $70 because they value themselves, their insights, their knowledge. You know, how you feel about yourself and how you love yourself definitely correlates with the confidence that you have to put yourself on a big screen, to speak at events, to put products out there, to launch books, to launch services. It takes a bit of confidence to constantly release things to the public for sale. And so all of that is tied into self-love. And that's why I really wanted to put this collaborative book together so that women can share their personal journeys to self-love. You know, every woman's journey is different. In our book, there's some women that talk about being in abusive relationships and how they got out of that. You know, there's some women that had challenges with their parents early on, and that affected their self-confidence. There's some women that have just not felt good about themselves as far as how they look on the outside, and that's been a challenge. So there's so many different, you know, journeys to self-love and confidence that I'm really excited to have all of these journeys in one book, and that's the Glambicious Guide to Self-Love, Confidence, and Happiness. So I urge you to, you know, connect with me online if you're interested in a copy of the book. Connect with my other co-authors. You can find me on social media at I am Lillie Mae, or my business page is at Glambicious IAM. So if you're interested, just send me a DM like, hey, Lillie, I would love a copy of that book. I also, like I said, offer other co-author opportunities. So there will be another edition of this book. If you missed it, there's no problem because we will put out another edition. Again, just send me a direct message or send me an email. My email is glambiciousmember@gmail.com and say, hey, Lillie, I want to write in your next book. And our books are not just about self-love and confidence. You know, we write about entrepreneurship. On Mother's Day, we have a book coming out about being a mompreneur. So there's so many different things we write about and we collaborate on that I just encourage you to visit my website, theglamceo.com, and just, you know, really look around because there's so many resources and opportunities to help you no matter what level of entrepreneurship you're in. If you're just thinking about being an entrepreneur, if you started your business today, or if you've been in business for 10 years, I promise there's an opportunity there for you. In addition, I invite everyone to register for our self-love event, which will be hosted virtually on February 27th. We have the keynote speaker, Grammy Award-winning Chrisette Michelle, that will be on with us, and so many other amazing women that are speaking on mental health, spirituality, self-love, self-care, and wellness. It's going to be an amazing virtual event. To register for free, visit loveyou2.eventbrite.com. That's loveyou2.eventbrite.com. And if you're interested in being one of our guest speakers, shoot me an email, glambiciousmember@gmail.com. But I definitely want to thank Courtney for having me and some of the co-authors here because, like I said, we have to be the love of our lives.
Lillie, thank you always. I love that you used the word opportunity. I had a wonderful woman who said it's an assignment. And that I did when I saw the title. And I want people to think these co-author opportunities, when Lillie put them out, they aren't just spur of the moments. Like she said, she does things very strategically. So you need to jump on when you see the message come out so you can be a part of that strategy. I know this came back out way back last year, November. And a lot of people with the thing, they say, well, I can't see all the way to February for November. But the thing is, we have to have a plan. We have to know where God has assigned us to be. And when the title came out, I know I forgot to tell y'all that I was part of this project, that I actually wrote a chapter, but it spoke to my assignment that I am already on to reach people. Like you say, in this season, when we talk about love, we talk about this romantic love, this heart of ours. A lot of times we talk about the heart of our kids, how we have made them our heart, how we've made our spouses our love, how we've made everybody in our family our love. And for me, my chapter was about loving the person you cannot live without. And that's what love after love was for me. When I lost my spouse, I had to learn how to actually love me, the person that I couldn't live without. Because I always hear people say, when this person dies, I don't know how I'm going to go on living. The thing is, you're alive, you're breathing. That's how you know you're going to go on living. Do you love yourself enough in that space to do it? So that's what my chapter is about, that little journey that I had to hit a few dead ends, hit a few walls, get a little scratched up to understand that I could live. I could love myself enough. And every relationship that I am in, I love myself enough that I know I can live without that person, because I know the person that I cannot live without is myself. So that is for you all who are on here who are mothers. You might not have a spouse. That's for you all on here who are sisters, who are daughters. The most important relationship is with yourself. So that way, when that person is gone, you have a stable enough relationship with yourself that you're able to actually move on in your life in a healthy way. A lot of us get trapped in particular roles and particular titles. So I thank you, Lillie, for giving us a place to put this voice, to be able to talk to people who are on different journeys like you see it. Each one of these women have experienced something, who have been through something, who has a journey that can empower you. And you might not have gotten on this journey yet, but I promise you, each and every one of us will be able to relate to the story of a woman, whether it's through a romantic relationship, whether it's a relationship from your parents. And I want you all to get this book so you don't get stuck in a place around a Hallmark holiday. You know, we get caught in these places around Hallmark holidays that will have us being depressed, that will have us caught in a bad place. So Lillie, I thank you. And let me pop all of these wonderful co-authors back on here, because I was definitely blessed that you all saw it not robbery to join me, because I know on a Saturday morning, we have many more things to do besides what you say, get slammed up. We don't all want to feel like that, to show up on camera and be our best selves. Some of us want to stay in bed a little bit longer. So I am honored for you all to have the call and showed up to share with my audience. And I've had some wonderful engagement here. They're on Facebook having conversations. I always know people not going to ask questions. It's just one of those things. But everybody on here, if you need to hit them in their message, I have put their Instagram. It is on the contact information. So if you need to ask a question that you don't want to ask here in public, definitely go follow them on Instagram, go DM them. If Dr. Denise talk about flying, if you need to learn how to break out of your cocoon so you can get to a place where you can fly again. A lot of us are buried within ourselves, or buried within the perceptions that other people have of us. Stand in that mirror and say who it is that you call yourself to be. Get with Dr. Denise and learn how to fly. Sheri spoke to us about being the bully. A lot of us spend so much energy bullying ourselves. We blame it on what our mama said, our daddy said, our sister said, our brother said. But at the end of the day, the voice inside of you is the biggest bully that you can ever live with. Because I thought about some of the things that I've actually said about myself, and I had to call myself the enemy. I had to call myself the devil. Be like, hey, get out of here with that foolishness. So stop the bullying, be a part of that movement, join her on the words. What is it? The warrior of words. Learn how to use the words, learn how to use your words to actually fight those battles that you need. And Kiawan, she is out here discipling people in love, empowering to inspire. So if you need to learn how to become a disciple of love, and if y'all don't know, love is an action word. So that means she is teaching you how to put love into action, not all of this superficial love that we have put into tangible things. Yes, there are different love languages for all of us. Love is something that we should be carrying out every day in a cycle. Love is something we should be embracing. Love is something that we should be giving. Because when you give it, it always come back 100% full. We are so caught up in this Americanized world of getting And that is not what love truly is. This get. When you are empty in your place, I don't care how many things you get, love will evade you because you have not learned the action of it. And of course, we are blessed to have the visionary, Miss Lillie Mae, with us. That is a blessing right there. And then she wrote a piece herself. But the key is, after her journey to fame, she still wanted to come back and actually tell us about her journey, because even after going to the romantic endeavor, she took an introspective inside. And everybody who is out here on this holiday feeling that like they gotta have a boo or a bae or, you know, just somebody so they can say they got a Valentine, go buy yourself something. Send yourself some flowers. Take yourself to a fine dinner. You know, buy yourself some lingerie to get up in the buy yourself some silk sheets, a glass of champagne. And I'm talking about men too. Whatever it is you need to do, because the best boo bae you got is yourself. So that is what she's telling us. Embrace ourselves, love ourselves, and this entire journey that we've all putting in. And I don't want you all to lose yourselves. And that's what I wrote about, not losing yourself. So I am very honored that everybody that took time, as always, to come visit us here at the Master Relationship Mechanics Show here on another Saturday. I thank each of my guests for taking their time and giving a little bit of their skills as coaches in life and relationship. So definitely their information is down in the details. Follow them at their Instagrams. Grab a copy of these books, whether you grab it from me or one of these individual ladies. It's not about that. It's about blessing you on the journey. These books will be available at midnight. So that's February the 14th. They're not coming out before then. But here on National Self-Love Day is the perfect opportunity. So if nothing else, think about that gift for you. How can you get that guide to help you if you feel like, hey, I'm not being the most loving to myself, so I definitely can't be loving to others. Remember in the beginning, I posted a link about generosity others. Make sure you show that generosity to yourself. Those are scriptures that will help you walk along when we talk about love as generosity. So ladies, if you all have any final statements, anything that you would like to share out to tell people before we close out this evening.
Sure. I just would like to, say, I guess in closing that, it's very important that we remember that God is love. So how can you love God if you don't love yourself? And I think that's very important to remember that the same God that created the stars in the sky and the universe and the galaxies and the planet Earth, he thought well enough to create me and Sheri and Courtney and Dr. Denise and Kiawan and you. So, there has to be some magic to it. You are just as magic as a star in the sky. And if you love God, you have to love yourself and you have to put time into that journey. God has created us all for a specific divine purpose. And the only way that you can operate effectively in your God-given gifts is to truly love yourself. And so that would be my closing words. Thank you again, Courtney, for having us.
All right. Thank you all. I'm going to close this out. Y'all remember the scriptures. Go back and look at them. As I always tell you all, today is better than my yesterday. And how you make that happen is, as Lillie said, shine bright like the star that God has created you to be. If the stars are bright and the stars shine at night, and they are still shining during the day. So the thing is, shine on. Don't let anybody clutter your shine. So make today better than yesterday, no matter what it requires. But you got to make it. Make it happen. So your today is going to be better than your yesterday. So thank you all. Wonderful guests. Thank you all for always tuning in, whether you see it in the live or the replay. Give us your feedback, give us your comments, and definitely follow our wonderful guests who took their time out to pour into you all today. So I will see you all wonderful ladies a little later.
Bye.